Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. During last week's blog post, I shared with you how to create a swirled 4-patch block. I've been playing a little bit more with that, and I want to share with you a really fun modification to that. So I'm going to open Electric Quilt and then select Open an Existing Project and find the swirled 4-patch one that I created during the last lesson and select OK. Now I have 2 blocks saved, and the one I actually want to work with is going to be a little bit of a variation between those two. So I'm going to take that first block that we created during the last blog post and select Edit. And on the Draw tab, I'm going to make sure I have actually Snap to Grids on, and with the line tool I'm going to change those quarter square triangles into half square triangles. And then I'll go to the Color tab. I shouldn't need to do any changes in coloring, and select Add to Project Sketchbook. Now I decided I loved the idea of using the center square and filling it with other blocks. But in order to do that, I need to collect some other blocks. So I'm going to go to the home screen and select Search Block Patterns, which is going to take me to the block library. Under 01 Classic Piece, scroll down and find the subcategory Simple Blocks. Then scroll through the blocks to find those that you would like to include in a merged block. Once you find one, select it and select Add to Sketchbook. Repeat this process until you've collected about a dozen blocks. Okay, I think I've got enough, so I'm going to close my project sketchbook. And now on the Block Worktable, I'm going to do a new block, Create Serendipity, and select Merge Block. Now the block that we just drafted should be on the left. If the block is not on the left, it means that that square in the center is not perfectly square. Sometimes that can happen if Snap to Grid is not on when drafting the block. But find the background block that we just drafted, and then we can see the various options in terms of a secondary block. Now I'm going to go through and select some blocks and select Add to Sketchbook. Again, I'm targeting maybe a dozen blocks that I can have merged, so I have some options when working on my quilt. Once you've created all the blocks you would like to consider in your quilt, select Close. Select View Project Sketchbook, and on the Quilts tab, find the quilt that was designed during the last session. And I'm going to select Edit. Select the Layout tab, and to begin modification, change the number of blocks. We want to select both horizontal and vertical to 3. And I'm not going to do any changes to the size, but on the borders I'm going to select that second border, and under Blocks in Border I'm going to change my vertical to 6, so it would be the same as the horizontal. Now I can go to the Design tab, and I'm going to select Erase Block. Now the key is finding the blocks to erase, and maybe I'll go back to my layout, because what I would like to do is erase the main blocks but keep the alternate blocks. So I'm going to go back to Design now that I've figured out which ones are the main blocks, and I'm going to use the Controller Command key and select that. So I've very quickly modified an existing quilt. So now I'm going to do Set Block, and I'm going to select some of my newly created merged blocks. Once I've found a block that I want, I can just click on one of the spaces in the quilt. Then select Fabric Tools, and using the paintbrush and the spray can, go ahead and recolor those merged blocks. And once I've recolored the quilt, I can select Add to Project Sketchbook. So this is just a fun way to create a sampler quilt. Thanks so much for watching. For additional tips and techniques, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter at www.onpointquilter.com.